All right, so we're gonna take another road trip. We got a couple days I took off. I just sat there. I was stymied half the morning, and I just couldn't figure out where to go because traffic and just California is always gonna be people and expensive. So it's like, fuck it. I'm not sitting around. I'm just gonna get in the car. I had my bags packed last night because I knew that would happen. So I just grabbed them and loaded the dogs, and here we are. So of course, right out the gates, a little traffic. Hopefully we'll get to some open roads here soon. And I'm gonna drive. I mean, I'll drive 4, 5, 6 hours if I have to. And just, I don't know, I'm gonna go north. Desert was a bad idea last week because it was too hot for the dogs, too hot for me. So I'm gonna try to go somewhere higher altitude, more trees, more cooler climate. North tends to be a good option for coolness, or more cool. So yeah, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm going to talk about, see, we have these little secret groups for the autistic people, the high functioning ones who can communicate and are self-aware and can articulate what our experience is and are, both living this way and how others react to us. And a lot of what we talk about is how narcissists, like true narcissists, right? Like the ones who are like, they're living that, and even like, they call them holistic thinkers, people that don't think like, autistic people, even those people are able to detect what they're doing. And boy, are we like kryptonite to them. We talk about that. I have clients I've encountered like that, people, family members, people connected to family members. And it's funny how they just, usually they'll just like avoid it because they know I know. And they also know that I'm not going to feed into their need for narcissistic supply, validation, their bullshit, if you will. I just don't. This isn't how it is. And these are people who usually have the worst dogs because the dogs see through it too. The dogs are like, all you care about is getting your stuff taken care of. You're not really present for me, or all you care about is training the dog when other people are watching, and it's about appearances or about what you need from me, speaking for a dog right now, versus what I need as a dog, which is a lot of times getting you out of themselves and having empathy and self-awareness and time and sacrifice and blah, blah, blah. And narcissists, those aren't their skill sets. So that's a big problem because all dogs have owners, and a lot of dogs who need intervention, proper intervention for training, they're acting out. And then when I come to just tell them like, hey, you've got to change what you're doing. I'm seeing what you're doing that your dog is seeing, and we've got to make some changes because your dog isn't going to change. You're always going to be a dog. You're acting on some flawed human psychology that is getting in the way of, I'm not going to talk about your happiness, but sure, but the contentment of your dog or anyone that's relying on you for their care, guidance, leadership, whatever it may be. So yeah, so narcissists really, really avoid, and they're acting out, and everything's a compensation, and everything is but my way, and I feel. They'll, in many cases, pose themselves as nice. A lot of the overly kind, the overly love, the it's all good, man. Spiritual narcissism is huge these days. People who portray themselves as yogis, but they are just all about physical appearance and convincing people to think their way. That's all what this is. And again, dogs, I always tie it back to dogs. Dogs see right through it. Dogs act out when they feel the energy of that, the lack of presence, the lack of self-reflection, the lack of willingness to improve on yourself instead of having the attitude like, well, that's just how I am, or that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel is the number one reason why dogs are in this state that they're in now, where there's so many of them in shelters, being put down, rehomed, in fosters, living, they live with their owners, but they're miserable, they're anxious, they can't even settle in the house they live in. Every move the owner makes, they're reacting to. Every indulgence the owner is, projecting onto this dog. And the dogs are, again, it's a lot of people don't think to call a trainer even, so the dogs just have to live this way from puppyhood to senior. I mean, it's just sad to me, but it's all human. Or it's just, selfishness, like they don't care for the dogs probably because they're caught up in themselves, right? It's just too strong a focus on the I, the ego, not the I, the I. It's kind of pathetic, actually, and it's sad how the world has, to me, collectively become, or at least the Western, U.S. world that I observe, has become collectively even worse and more ingrained and digging their heels into this. That's why people like me pointing the truth get more ostracized, said horrible things to, reacted to, avoided from. I see it. It's and then when I point it out, it's like you just like detonated a bomb. These people are not good at when you put them in a corner either. They go crazy and they don't want to see. They'll gaslight and fight. And so, again, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about if what I'm talking about makes sense, because I'm not the popular sentiment these days, the way I think. And again, getting back to how I started this video, being on the spectrum, and not everyone on this, you have to be on the spectrum to be self-aware and empathetic and seeing for what it is, you know, kind of, but seeing, you know, pulling back the curtain. But people on the spectrum, they can't not. And a lot of times you get in trouble because you can't even, well, because you're like, well, I see it, but I'm going to play the game. It's hard for us to play the game, if at all. And sometimes people get mad. My only game is I want to help people with their dogs. And I want to tell them what they need to do and what they are doing incorrectly that's causing their dog's issue. Because dogs are a living, breathing thing that has a specific relationship with specific people that I can't come in and influence, even if I'm there for a month working with the dog. Yeah, I'll listen to you, Mr. Trainer, because your energy, your interpretation, your actions, show me this awareness. Show me that you have experience and knowledge of yourself when in the presence of a dog, so you can keep that self at the very least on the back burner, right? Like, I love my dogs. Little Minnie, I today posted, I was kissing her, singing to her. I love it. But if she needed training and she had behavior issues or some other needs, I'm not gonna give into that just because it feels good. Again, back to the feelings. I saw Robert Cabral, one of the best, most respected trainers, so experienced. He's so nice, and you know, he's direct and kind, but all he does is care about animals. It exudes from him. And he's a good freaking trainer. He's well respected by his peers and has helped a lot of dog owners over the years in person. And he made a video about the proper use of a pinch collar. And this person just comes in, anyone who has to, and then they just, you are not what you're doing, and this, and you look, and they're not, nothing. They usually just have a picture of a dog, no evidence of their work. They're usually not professionals, or if they are, they're failed, you know, purely positive, or they're pet sitters or something, where they're not even in the trenches, if you will, dealing with these dogs that have real issues and fixing it. And it's not by medieval torture techniques, but if you understand how dogs communicate, how their instincts and reflexes are, you can't be using harnesses that trigger that opposition. You just can't. But that's great. You had one dog. Congratulations. You probably didn't have a dog that was overly vigilant and difficult, or had circumstances in their life that caused them to have behavior issues. Good for you. And I even today, I responded to those people who commented on Robert's post, video about, like, you know, this is all about just being a virtue signaling person who has no clue what they're talking about, but it's all about making yourself feel good. I mean, that's distilled to but something that effective is just so, these people are so pathetic to me because they're not the real deal. They're nothing. Even Zach George, like, he's popular and he portrays a dog trainer. He's not really doing anything. If you watch his videos, I have most of my clients, you go watch footage of my group classes, every one of my clients is a better dog handler and more astute and understanding of dog behavior than him in 1,000 career lifetimes. That's what's so sad, and this is the most popular because he's pandering to these people, because we have so many narcissists who are just like pretty dumb, and they're just thinking with their feelings, and it's all about, well, I just feel it. What does that mean? That's why Melanie, I think it's Uedei, it's Uedei or IE, doctor. She's a dog trainer, but she also has a degree in biology, and she understands and knows how to dissect the research and do her own research, and she's pulling this all apart, that just because someone feels, or you know, and that's happens, you paint them in the corner, a lot of these types, and instead of, well, this is just how I feel, it's like, that doesn't mean anything. That means less than anything, because now a nothing is being spoken, and you might hook onto some other person with a moronic interpretation of life and narcissistic version of them, you know, view of themselves, and they're going to say, yeah, that's right, that's how it is, wrong, it is bad, because I feel that way too. And then you just started a fire. Fire's bad, but a fire can also, fire in the right context is good, but if it's bad and then it just starts spreading, you're going to get a lot of bad, when if it never started in the first place, it wouldn't be an issue. So that's why I have an issue with these people opening their mouths. The internet obviously caused this, but it really is sad to me that so many people are, traffic's bad, are wired this way, and they really feel valid in coming out with this. It's just spewed nonsense. At least now tides are turning where no one's afraid to speak up, because we used to be afraid, if we say something, these people, they're going to turn on us and call us dog abusers and say stuff on our pages, and it's like, whatever, like, you're the idiots and everyone knows it, and the few of you that do, you just look stupid. And now we say something, we're calling you out. We have intelligent people like Melanie, who is like, yeah, I'm not just going to say you're wrong and say, well, I have experience seeing otherwise. Here's even video evidence, like I'll post, client testimonials, but like literally just like, yeah, here's exactly as a scientist why you're flawed in your thinking. And no matter what I say or do, there's nothing you're going to be able to articulate, because everything you're trying to do in defense is an emotion and your personal opinion, not the objective reality of it all. And that's the difference. Sorry, a lot of traffic. That's why I hate LA. But yeah, so that's that. I'll leave it at that. I think I made a good point here. Thank you to people who have been watching, making comments, subscribing. Not many, but let's keep growing it. I promised I'll try to do at least one long form video, talking or teaching a day. Also go on my website, dogtrainingaK.com, dogtrainingla.com for Alaska and Los Angeles. And I do a lot of Zoom training. So if you're someone elsewhere or you want to work with me, and you have dog problems, puppy training needs, real life training skills, you want to teach your dog some tricks, reach out. It really works great, the Zoom training. I'm able to coach you on camera, and I kind of play director and have you kind of go through different scenarios while I watch and listen. And then I demonstrate with my dogs. So you'll get to meet me and my dogs on camera. I go through different exercises and we go side by side. Really, really works. Better, because I'm not influencing your dog's behavior, and we know that dogs are going to listen to the trainer, like I said before. Thanks again. Share, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Have a great day.